Lewis, how you doing?
Hello. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad.
Good. Obviously, not the best result for you guys at the weekend.
No, wasn't. First time I think in a very long time I've witnessed us give up. We don't normally perform like that, so it was quite unusual to see that happen on the weekend. Because you would have thought it would have happened a lot sooner, rather than now when we were in like the business part of the season. But yeah, hopefully not another repeat of that. And the players owe us a bit of a performance after witnessing that on the weekend.
I think Luton Town are one of them teams that it's kind of everybody else in the Premier League, maybe not Forest and Everton, but most clubs in the Premier League have really kind of cheered them on and want them to stay up because it's just that typical underdog story. Do you think that maybe though you've played a little bit naively in terms of coming up trying to play the way you played in the Championship, bringing that to the Premier League?
Well, the answer to that question is what way do you want us to play? Because Burnley have proven you can play all nice football, don't get results. I don't know what style of play you call that Sheffield United's. And then we're playing a way where it suits our strengths, which is the correct way to go about things. We've caused teams problems and we're giving it a go. We can't defend. Whether doesn't matter how well we try, doesn't matter how long we put 11 players behind the ball, we can't defend, and
Mhm.
that proofs in the pudding with that. We've tried it at the start of the season, first 10 games, the results were different, the performances were different. That's because we were putting players behind the ball, and we thought, you know what, we can't continue like this. We've got to go at teams. We've got to try and cause them problems. We start doing that, and then people think, oh, look, Luton are put a bit up, like bit of fight here, and that's because there's might as well give it a go. You got nothing to lose here. We know we've overachieved this year. We know that if we get relegated, it's not the end of the world. We know we can rebuild and go again. Can't say the same about the clubs above us, but you know that for me, we've done the correct thing. That's the best way to get results for us. And if we didn't have an injury crisis this season, I think we would have been a lot higher in the table.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like you give it a go. The games that stand out for me are the 4-4 at Newcastle, a cracking game that was, and the 4-0 demolition of Brighton, which is no easy feat. Brighton are a bloody good team.
And that's what happens when we've got a fully fit team. But we haven't had a fully fit team since then, and unfortunately, we've hit the wrong, bit of wrong form at the wrong point in the season. So with a few of them coming back now, hopefully we can get something. But yeah, something magical is hopefully going to happen in the next 4 games.
Yeah, you've got a fair run in. I think you've got a chance. So one thing I would say, I think compared to some of the run-ins that others have, you've got some winnable games there. If you keep playing like Luton do and you keep going for it, what do you think?
Yeah, I think with Wolves, with their injury crisis at the moment, they've got a massive one, and I think they're playing midweek as well. So got them this weekend. Everton, by the time we play them now, whether they be fully safe, I'm not too sure, but that's like a must win. I thought Brentford at home on the weekend just gone was a must win. That is a must
Mm.
win. So we've got to win that one. And then with West Ham, well, nothing looks like nothing to play for now. And then Fulham, who definitely got nothing to play for. So you couldn't have asked for better fixtures, in my opinion. So if we're going to do it, you need at least 2 wins, at least. 3 or 4 would be absolutely amazing. We've done worse in the past and stayed up in the lower league. So hopefully we can do it again. I know my dad always reminds me of the 80s where Luton stayed up when we were in the top division and there were some special days. So hopefully we can, go back in the past and repeat a bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got. I don't think you've got any. None of your players have hit double figures yet. I think Carlton Morris is on 9, and Elijah. I can't remember his surname. You've got another.
Yeah, Adebayo. Yeah,
Adebayo.
he was on the verge of hitting double figures. But he's been out with a hamstring injury.
Right.
He got in the warm up against Man United, and we haven't seen him since. He's been a massive blow. But Morris has done well on his own. I have to admit, he's been an absolute warrior. Defenders hate defending against him because he causes them
Yeah.
all sorts of problems. Old fashioned striker, and he can do a bit of everything, which is really good.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of an Antonio that he's bullish. He's that old-fashioned strikers. You don't get too many of them these days, but defenders hate playing against them.
Yeah, but just a little bit better on the finishing side of things.
Well, he wasn't a right back.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
we'll give him that one. I mean, is there anything, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. And as you say, probably, I think that's why a lot of people have bought into Luton, because you have gone for it. You've not sat back. But is there anything differently, apart from the injuries, that Luton could have done?
In my opinion, and it's really harsh because it is aimed towards the recruitment team and the board, which has got us to the Premier League. And without that really good recruitment team, which they do the data analytics now, they're very good at it, and it's got us this far. We should have signed more players in January. With what happened to Tom Lockyer just before that month, and then we knew about our other players in Nakamba and Brown being out for the season. We were very naive not to replace those players in January. I think everyone would have thought, yeah, we should just replace Tom Lockyer. We didn't do that. And I feel like, although no club can predict an injury crisis, and I completely understand that, but with knowing fact that players are not going to return before the end of the season, surely any short-term players come in just to help, just to fill some, fill the space and be available, could have done us a little bit better. And because we've had to overuse players, because players kept getting injured, then more and more players kept getting injured, and I feel like that's just impacted results for us. Whereas there's a few games where we should have walked away with some points. Bournemouth away, for example, we were 3-0 up at half time, but after 50 minutes, you can clearly see the players there was no fuel left in the tank. And then Bournemouth went, we're just going to go at you. And we just couldn't deal with that. But if we had players available, we were able to, rotate, we could have gone about things completely different. But without having a good January transfer recruitment, which is, it's the first time in many years, by the way. So it's definitely one mistake we've made this year. I felt we could have done a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, one of the players that you have recruited quite well and is now on a lot of people's radars is Ross Barkley. Is he somebody that, do you think you could keep him? Is he just on a 1-year deal, or is he on a longer deal but with a clause in his contract?
I think there's a clause in his contract. If we go down, he's allowed to go. I think he has signed more than a 1-year deal. I think Rob Edwards hinted that at the start of the season. So I think there's just a clause in there. If I'm being honest with you, it'd be really he would have done us a favour and we've done him a favour. So
yeah,
it would have been one of those types of deals.
Kind of like when Jesse Lingard come to West Ham, but I don't know what happened to him afterwards. He just absolutely died to death. But okay, great. I mean, I was surprised actually that he'd only scored 5 goals and got 4 assists, or 5 goals and 4 assists. It feels to me like he's done a lot more, but maybe I know he scored those goals against the likes of I think City, Chelsea, some of the big games, which is maybe why I feel more.
Yeah, he's playing a lot deeper. He's not playing in his usual number 10 role, which he was known for playing it for Everton. But yeah, it's a lot deeper. I think he would have contributed a lot more if Lokonga was fit alongside him. Lokonga hasn't played the last, 12 games. He managed to start on the weekend against Brentford for the first time in a long time. But Lokonga basically done all the defensive side of things. Barkley does all the attacking side of things. But without Lokonga, Barkley can't. It's not really the same player. And when you contrast when Lokonga's in and out of the team, Barkley's just not the same. So Barkley needs Lokonga as much as anything.
Yeah, and I know obviously you'll be looking to hold on to as many players. If you go down, you'll be looking to hold on to as many of those players. Do you think you can hold on to Rob Edwards and the job that he's done? I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, if I'm being brutally honest with you, I don't know which Premier League club would take him, because every Premier League club right now is just looking abroad. I honestly couldn't picture any club taking him, unless it's a bigger Championship club that's more established and more Premier League pedigree. But apart from that, I can't. I honestly just don't see a Premier League club taking him now.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And I'm looking at your run-in. As you mentioned, you've got Wolves away, Everton at home, West Ham away, and Fulham at home. How many points do you think you'll get out of those?
If we're going to stay up, we need at least 6. At least. I don't know what's going to happen with Forest. I don't know if they're going to get punished further with what they did on the weekend. Apparently, I just seen a social media post. Apparently, that's a breach, and it's 3 to 6 points, but I don't think they're going to get deducted anything. Hopefully, that appeal doesn't get successful, because I feel like they have broken the rules and they've done it on purpose, knowing the fact that they were going to break them. It's hard, it really is, but unfortunately, it's out of our hands. Really, we've got to win the games and do the job. So hopefully 6 points, but I think we're going to need at least 7 or 8, and we're only going to have ourselves to blame because we only got 4 points against Burnley and Sheffield United this season, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's going to send us down, not beating the top 6 sides, because you can't like compare yourself to those teams, but beating the teams around you, you can. And yeah, I feel like dropping those amount of points against those two sides is a massive mistake.
I mean, if hopefully it doesn't happen, but if you do go down, do you think you'll be a team that stays down, or do you think you'll bounce back up?
I think we'll be back up in the next 5 years under our current ownership, under the plan. We need this new stadium getting built. Everton are allowed to build a new stadium despite loan interest and all this. We've had to hold off because we don't want to get punished. Yeah, they get like a slap on the wrist with their punishments, and we still paying the price because I don't even think a brick's even been put down on our one yet, and our stadium was approved before Everton Stadium was. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bit of a nightmare. But I feel like with a new stadium, you're able to build, you're able to attract more, your revenue's a lot more in. And yeah, I think we could go a bit more stronger. But I feel like for our owners, it's the first time they're in the Premier League, so they would have learned a lot. So,
Mm.
and I feel like we may take a step back to hopefully take 2 steps forward.
Yeah. Is that new ground on the same site as Kenilworth Road, or is it somewhere else?
No, it's right. So basically, it's right next to the train station. So Luton
Mm.
Stadium's about 20-minute walk from the train station, whereas
Right.
the new site is literally on the doorstep of the train station, and it's like the same size of the Emirates. That's how big the land is. So it's big land.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. A lot to feel. That's cool. I mean, you mentioned